Hey everyone, good morning. I'm Tyler and I'm just getting started on my concept for this design challenge, and I'm going to walk you through it in a minute. I have a few meetings today that I couldn't get around, and so I got a bit of a head start this morning, just spending a couple hours, roughly the time that I would have spent, but I will be spending in those meetings and otherwise occupied. So a bit of a bummer, but those meetings will be great, and you know who you are. This is a part of those. So brief tour will go like this. So I started out with a concept, and the concept is a way to share places that you want to travel to with somebody else. So it's more about inspiration. Man, I would love to go there, rather than planning a trip or something specific. It's more about sharing beautiful places, I suppose. So I started working through some animations and transitions, because that was in my head, a core part of the initial piece. And then I started working out some brief wireframes and not wireframes, but transitions and whatnot for Figma here. And then I backed out from the concept and got more into the information architecture. And so I was working in here, and it's kind of, the functionality might be kind of like Zillow or Tinder, where you're swiping between big concepts, big chunks of information that you see right here, and then you can swipe vertically for more information about those things. I'm working now with a tap to nav. Incidentally, this color right here is called Portage, which is a travel style of traveling common up in Minnesota in the lakes. But you tap to get the nav and the functionality down here. And so a bit more on the information architecture side. So one of these pages might look like this, and then you tap it and you get the menu, various menu options here. And I also worked a bit on the architecture in Miro. I did this in Miro and just copied it over here for simplicity's sake. I'm not sold on this. It just got complicated as I was thinking about how it could go with places and images for each place and da-da-da-da. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And I also worked a bit on, this is where I spent time just fooling around, honestly, on the identity. I started over here. It was originally called Lego, as in let's go there together. It's a travel app that you go. I'm going to show these places. These are a little bit of color exploration. I just love these, like this orange, blue, and green combo, so I just stuck with it. And I changed to Wevoy because Lego just felt weird. I wanted it to be fun and more like, hey, let's go. But it just felt rough when I actually started playing around with it, and it didn't fit. And so initially started with some concepts here and reflecting the mountains, or the mountains reflecting the W and the V, mountains, water, sun, as it were. And I was working a bit of animation, and then, so you can see, here's that reflection exploration. Didn't ultimately start with that, or didn't ultimately go totally with that, as you'll see in a minute. And these are some, they have a black box around them because I was pretty confident in these. And then I ran it by the rest of our designers in our designer chat the other day, and they challenged me to make it a bit stronger, specifically around over here how the sun encompasses that little mountain. So I played around a little bit more, and this is where it's at now. I wish I could hide those lines quickly, but I forget the shortcut. So this is where it's at now, and it's a gratuitous little thing, but what I really liked about it was this animation, and Figma was great, and just simple things for simple minds. But there you have it. We will give an update soon. So thanks for tuning in. Hey everyone, like I said, I had a few meetings this morning, so I didn't make a ton of progress since my last video, but here's where I'm at now. I've spent the majority of the time working on these two screens here. One is like a overview for a location, and then so you've got overview and then a chance to click in to see more details, and then some various photos that we're pulling from the Faroe Islands. and I'm just using the Unsplash plugin, so thanks for that. And then clicking over into details for location, pulling in some information from Wikipedia. Up here and down here, this is using a plugin called Mapsicle. It was pretty helpful. And then jumping into some basic metrics. There should be something more robust or more branded than this, but not yet. How many folks have liked it, how many have saved it, and how many have sent it, shared it with others. Pointing to Wikipedia on the location, and Instagram, and travel, which is like an Uber for travel agents. And what I want this to be is not just I like this. It's like I want to support somebody actually doing something with this, finding out more information about it, and enough to say I want to go there, but not exactly plan everything out. I'm not going to have restaurants in here or anything like that necessarily. So that's where Wikipedia and Instagram come in instead of something like Yelp or I don't know, one of those other location-based services. And then some places that are related to the Faroe Islands and the metrics there. And so you tap that and you go see more about that place. So like I said, not a ton of progress. I'm hoping to focus in on the interactivity, building out a few more of the details here, and filling out more of this sitemap that I've got here, just playing into that a bit more. So that's the update for now. Wevoy is an app that allows me, somebody who loves to travel, loves places, loves adventure, to find images from Instagram commonly or wherever else on the internet for that matter, and send them to one place to share with people that also love adventure and travel and things like that. So it's just collecting stuff from the internet, really. And so a bit of a brief tour. It started out as Lego, as in let's go. Let's do this together. And then I changed to Wevoy. Lego just didn't fit. It was kind of, I don't know, just was too much. I didn't like the double G. I couldn't decide on a font. And ultimately, like I said, I changed to Wevoy, as in we, and then Voy, which is a word root for voyage, for voyager and other Romance languages, and also for seeing in other languages. So we see together, we go together, that kind of thing. A bit of color exploration here. I'm a sucker for orange, green, and blues. And incidentally, this, I have it somewhere. It's in my, no, it is over here. The names of the colors, I like them. They were over here. Watercourse, Safety Orange, which is great when you're traveling, and then Lochmara. So Loch being Scottish for lake. Just silly wordplay. Bunch of other exploration here. Here's some type exploration. And eventually I signed up for Black Han Sans as the dominant title case header font and then assistant. And let's see over here, the logo. So there's a basic logo for an app icon, as it were, and then a more word marky type logo that blows that out a bit. And then the app. So I spent my time up here in Miro building out the architecture, because as I thought about it in my head, I thought this would be really simple. And then as things do, it quickly got more complex. And I wanted it, as far as the interactions to go, kind of like I want it to be kind of like rather than an infinite scroll in Instagram, I wanted to focus the interactions more on deeper interactions and deeper engagement with a piece of thing, and not just liking and commenting, but actually learning more about this stuff and sharing it with people. And so hopefully that we'll see how that plays out throughout. This was, so it was kind of like Tinder, where you swipe between locations and then you can scroll vertically for more information about them. And then you can tap in to see more information on or you can see an image bigger. And this was a super high level wireframe that I started out early. And this is some early explorations that I couldn't get behind. I liked the back and forth, but it was just too much. And for an experiment like this, I didn't want to spend too much time on animations. So, and actually, you know what? Instead of, where am I going here? I'm going to make sure that I'm just going to show y'all how it'll go. I spent some time on this, but so like I said, this is when you open up the app, you're going to get something like this. And you just scroll, and it's just various pictures of the Faroe Islands. And if I want to see more information, I could tap into that, and it's a little card over here, a map, basic information about this place, all pulled from Wikipedia. And you could tap into one of these and then get taken to a similar view for each of those. Likes, adding to collections, and sending. Those are the three mechanics that I wanted to incentivize, make a big deal of. And also learning more about this place on Wikipedia, seeing links or seeing photos on Instagram. Travel, TRVL is it's like an Uber for travel agents. And so how do we get people to dig into this a bit more? Not just planning the vacation. I don't want this to be a planning because there's frankly too many details. But how do you get somebody on the phone and say, hey, what would it look like for me to go to Tórshavn? And then TripAdvisor for a bit more details. Related places and a bit of overview on each of those. So I click into that, and here I get taken into Tórshavn. And then it's a similar layout, but when you get this layer deeper, I wanted the photos to be full, like as big as I could possibly make them, rather than a small grid like you would see on Instagram Explorer. And so these are as big as I could make them, allowing for the format. But then if I want to tap into this particular image, I get a bit more deal on this. And then here's where it becomes a bit more social, where I can see all the comments on this particular picture, if it's public, those comments just by friends of mine, and then my own notes, captions, whatever. And then I wanted rather than just a standard threading of comments, I wanted something a bit different. And we've been on a project, Aubrey, Nick, and I have been playing around with these cards. And so I pulled those in, and to swipe between you can swipe between conversations basically. And so if I have whoever Darren is, he sent that to me and he commented, and we could comment back and forth. Or if I have, I'm still working on this. If I have a group that I like to travel with, like I know Aubrey does, then we could have a conversation here about this photo and share things back and forth. And I think that's the extent of it. Let me go back. I can't go back, can I? Shoot. So what I did over here, here's some other explorations of, like, all I did was change this up here so you could swipe back and forth. But there's a concept of an inbox where people have sent me images or places that they wanted me to see. And again, rather than just being like an email, I want it to be full screen and really inviting and attractive, because it's hopefully this is a visually enticing app. So instead of just a message from this person, you get a full big fatty screenshot of that. These are some places that I love and would like to go. And I think that is all that I have to show right now.